Hey guys, it's Vicky here. Let's talk The Walking Dead. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking all about the 8th episode of the final season of The Walking Dead. This episode is titled For Blood, and it is also the final episode of Season 11's Part A, which means after this episode there's going to be a few months of a hiatus for the show. I can't really call it a mid-season finale just because there are going to be 3 parts, so it's going to be one of the first mid-seasons, if you will. And yeah, if you haven't watched that episode already, I highly suggest you do so before watching this video, because I'm going to be deep diving into every scene of this episode, and just to avoid major spoilers, watch that first and then come back here to see if you agree or disagree with what I have to say. Alright, so first I want to say that I'm sorry that this video is so late. I was supposed to record this last week and then post it the day after this episode actually airs on AMC. Unfortunately, I wasn't feeling very well, so I couldn't record for you guys. And so this video is going to be a week late, or it is a week late, so I'm really sorry about that. And with all that being said, let's get straight into it. In this episode's opening minutes, we have the Reapers looking out of Meridian at the horde of walkers roaming outside the gates. Daryl tells them that he's seen them move like this before, but he doesn't know why. He then offers to go and lead them away, but Pope sends Wells, another Reaper, instead. Inevitably, Wells gets killed by Maggie and Negan in the horde. So when Daryl took one look at the horde, I love that he knew immediately what was going on, and I'm pretty sure he put 2 and 2 together that Negan and Maggie are together, and Negan knows how to hoard walkers because he was taught this by Alpha. So pretty sure in his mind he was like, okay, Negan taught Maggie how to hoard walkers and they are in this horde because of how he saw that the walkers were moving, and he's just like, oh, so that's what's going on, that's where they are, they're safe for now. And obviously Daryl is not going to out them because he obviously is still on Maggie's side, and so he just tells Pope, yeah, I've seen them before, but I don't know why they do this. They just move like this, like in groups, but we don't know why, or I don't know why. And then he volunteers to go out himself, but obviously he doesn't go out since Pope, he tells someone else to go. Now I don't think it was because Pope doesn't trust Daryl. I don't think Pope really trusts anyone 100%, but I don't think that when he was telling Daryl not to go and he sent someone else, I don't think that was because he didn't trust Daryl. I think it was just he wanted him to stay back and like show Daryl what his own people are able to do, but then that inevitably ended in Wells being killed. And I think that Daryl wanted to go out there just to make sure that Maggie and the others were okay, and then obviously he would come back. I don't think he would have ditched the Reapers right away if he was able to go out there with the horde, since he's still, to Leia and the Pope, he's still one of them, even though he's not really. Or not at all, actually. After the opening minutes, we're brought to Alexandria and a storm seems to be ravaging the community. The adults are blocking in the doors and windows to make sure they don't break. Judith is comforting the other children. Now this part, or this scene rather, was actually really, really short, and it was just letting us all see what exactly was happening back in Alexandria. And I really liked the part where they showed Judith just huddled up in a corner or on the wall with the other kids like RJ, Herschel, and Gracie, and she's just like being older sister to the other kids, and I just found that part really, really sweet, and it was just really, really cute to watch. I really liked it. We then jump to the Reapers, and Leia is trying to get in touch with Wells, and she tries to go after him, but Pope stops her, telling her that the walkers didn't get him, but Maggie did. Leia then confronts Pope that he used Wells to lure out their enemy. Pope then calls out Leia that she's been acting up since Daryl showed up, and challenges her to continue, but she doesn't. Now in this one scene, you can just tell that there's a lot of tension between Leia and Pope, and it's just this tension is just going to keep on building up throughout the entire episode, just snowballing until it hits a point of no return. And you guys will, well, if you already have watched the episode, you guys know exactly what I mean. And it's just, I feel like this part kind of showed it right away, and it's been building up since previously in the previous episodes as well, but this episode really emphasizes it. And I just want to point out that when Pope is talking about his enemy, who we obviously know as Maggie, I can't help but feel like he just gets a little bit too excited when he's talking about her, and it's just like he's itching for a fight, and I don't know what exactly it is he wants from her. Like, does he want her dead? Does he want her to kill him? It's a weird feeling that I get from Pope whenever he's like, oh, my enemy, she's out there, she doesn't give up. And I'm just like, what exactly do you want from Maggie? Like, you marked her, we still don't know what that means. And it's just, I don't know, like, it might just be my feeling, but he just seems a little bit overly excited when he's talking about how Maggie's back, or his enemy is back, and she doesn't give up, and it's just, she won't give up. And it's just, he doesn't sound really sad when he finds out that Wells is dead because of Maggie. He feels kind of, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but he does feel really excited that she's here and that he's finally going to be able to fight her. That's the feeling I get from Pope, and I honestly still don't know why. Jumping back to Alexandria, Carol, Aaron, and Rosita are trying to come up with a plan to help save their community, as heavy winds had blown out a part of the walls, and lightning had lit the windmill on fire, attracting the walkers by the bright light. Carol heads out with a team to repair the wall, and Aaron to take care of the fire. Rosita stays back to protect the house. They then call for volunteers and head out. Now, when they're asking for volunteers, I really loved that Connie stepped up and she directly tells Magna and Kelly that she wants to go with Carol. And I love this part because I feel like Carol really needed this reassurance, since obviously Carol, she still blames herself for what happened with the cave, with Alexandria, and with basically everything that happened in the Whisperer War. And it's just, like, Connie's so sweet because I'm sure she knows that about Carol as well, and that's why she's like, I'm going out there with you, I want to go out there with you because I still do feel safe going out there with you. And she showed that to Carol in the absolute best way possible, because when Magna tells Carol that Connie said that she wants to go with Carol, there was this look in Carol's eyes that's like, she teared up and she's like, thank you so much. And it wasn't just a thank you for volunteering, it was a thank you for still feeling safe with me. And it was just a really emotional part, even though it was a really small part as well. Just before Carol leaves to take care of the walls, I really liked that Judith came up to her and was like, I want to go out there and help you as well. But then obviously Carol's not going to let a little kid go out there when there's a raging storm, and pretty sure Judith can literally be blown away by the winds, because Judith is, as strong as she is, she's still physically really small. She's so cute, I love her. But I just really like that they're sticking to her character of, she is willing to go out there and defend her family, defend her community. And we also saw this as well back in season 10, when she also went up to Daryl and was like, I can fight, I want to fight. And then Daryl tells her basically the exact same thing. It's like, I know you want to, and I know you can, but I need you to stay here and look after the others. And it just really brought me back to that moment in season 10, just because, like, Judith is just a very strong character, even though she's just like a little kid, but she's still growing up to be like her parents, like the ones who raised her. And just, I love that about Judith, and I love that they're keeping her character true to herself. And then there was the part where Gracie, she basically begs Aaron not to go, and for very obvious reasons, and I completely do not blame Gracie at all, because she's scared of the storm, she's scared of the thunder, she's scared of the walkers that are getting into the walls of the community, just because, well, we saw that there was a wall that was, like, the wall fell apart, and so walkers are coming in. Gracie is scared. For very obvious reasons, and she wants her dad there with her because she feels the safest with her dad. And, like, I get it, like, she's a kid in the apocalypse, and if you some people think that if you grow up in the apocalypse, you shouldn't be scared, but I do not think that way at all. Like, a kid's gonna still be a kid, even in the apocalypse. So for her to want her dad to stay with her, like, I found that a really, really cute touch, just because it's like, not every kid who's born in the zombie apocalypse is going to be as strong as Judith, and I really like that contrast. And then when Judith comes out and, like, she basically listens to Carol and is like, to Gracie, I'll stay with you, and Aaron's like, thank God for you, like, you're amazing, Judith, just help my daughter stay safe. And it's just, I swear, Judith and Gracie are just going to grow up to be best friends, and they're just going to be, like, the best kid pair, and I love them so much. A Reaper reports back to Pope that the horde of walkers is gone. Pope then tells Daryl a story about how he had to strangle his dog because he tried to bite him. Daryl then tells Pope that Maggie is a great shot, then advises them to look in the trees. They head back out to the lookout when they're told through the radio that the horde has returned. As the walkers approach the gates, they start blowing up because of landmines. Now, obviously, when the Pope was telling Daryl the story about his dog, or the dog that... Was it his dog? He said it was a rescue, but then... I guess his dog would be the best way to put it. When Pope's telling Daryl the story about how he had to strangle his own dog, obviously that was a very straightforward warning to Daryl, like, don't bite me, otherwise I will strangle you. Like, I'm gonna kill you if you decide to betray, which he shared, and he definitely proved back in episode 4 of the season, when he burned his, like, friend or comrade or son alive in the fire. And when Pope was telling the story, I kind of got a Negan vibe, but I'm pretty sure that was just because the story reminded me of what Negan told Judith about him bringing home stray dogs, and that one feral stray dog killed all the other dogs. But, yeah, that's probably the only reason why I get a Negan vibe from the story. But, yeah, if anyone agrees with me, please let me know. If you don't, also let me know. Now, I'm really loving how smart Daryl continues to be throughout the season, especially in this episode, since, when Leia basically tells the Pope that Daryl's a great tracker, like, that's why we kept him here, and the Pope was like, have you noticed anything? Like, can you tell us anything that can help us? And then right away, Daryl's like, look up in the trees. Like, she's great with that bow. Like, Maggie is great with that bow, so look up in the trees. And I don't think we've ever actually seen Maggie or any of them climb to the trees to, like, shoot at walkers or people. We've seen Herschel climb a tree, but he was just there to hide, not to actually be, like, a sniper. So I think, like, I'm pretty sure Daryl was completely throwing them off since, well, okay, yes, he definitely was throwing them off now that I think about it, because he knows that they're in the horde. That's why the horde is walking that way. And, like, I just really, really like how he is just throwing them, like, really, really far from the actual truth, like telling them to look in the trees. I just wish he hid his expression better, because when the landmines were going off, he looked really worried, and anyone who would be looking at him rather than the horde can tell that, like, he's worried. But then, of course, he could brush it off and be like, oh, I'm just worried that the horde is going to somehow get into the walls. Like, what if we don't have enough landmines to destroy this horde? He could brush it off like that, but then I really wished he would kind of, like, hide his expression better, especially when they were like landmines were going off in the horde, and he's like, crap, my people are in there, are they okay? And obviously we know that, but the Reapers don't know that. But they could, if what's the name, if Carver was there, he might have pointed that out. I was like, oh, are you worried your friends are gonna get hurt? Like, I feel like that's the type of person Carver is, like, he's still trying to pick at Daryl, just because I still think that Carver and Leia have something, but we haven't had any proof of that yet. Back at Alexandria, Judith comforts Gracie that she can use her fear to become stronger. Gracie then gets up to practice with the sword, and Virgil comforts Judith about Michonne leaving, and that even though she's not physically here, Michonne is always with her in her heart. A walker then grabs at Gracie through a hole in the panels covering the door, and Judith saves her from the walker. Now, I feel like Judith really needed this conversation with Virgil just because, like, she's been going through a lot emotionally, especially with that asshole of a kid who basically was like, oh, Michonne abandoned you, But we don't even know who his parents are. But anyway, like, I feel like Judith really needed that talk since she's been thinking about Michonne, and obviously we know that Michonne did not abandon her. She's out there looking for Judith's dad, but like she just still feels that void, and like she's worried about everyone that she cares about leaving her. And like what Virgil told her was really sweet, and I feel like that's exactly what Judith needed to hear. That like not only just talking about Michonne, but like everyone that she knows and loves and grows close to and that grew up with, they are all a part of her throughout the things she does, throughout the things she says, whatever her every decision is. Like they're all led by who she was raised by. And I really admired Virgil for telling her that. And just my respect for Virgil is just continuously climbing throughout this season. Well, for the 2 episodes that he was in. But it's just, I really liked his conversation with her since it was really sweet and it gave her a lot of reassurance as well. The Reapers keep watching the horde of walkers. Leia tells Pope that she's been thinking of the ones they lost, and Pope goes on to preach about how those they lost are a sacrifice so that they can live and continue fighting. Daryl then notices Maggie and Gabriel among the walkers. They head to the side of Meridian and see a Reaper on watch. Daryl reaches the Reaper and offers him a cigarette. Then he kills the Reaper, and Daryl redirects Maggie and Gabriel to go around, and then he unlocks the food storage room. As Elijah and Negan are still in the horde, a walker blows up in front of them, and Elijah is struck by the shrapnel. Pope voices out that his enemy never gives up, and then orders Leia to ready something called a huacha. Maggie and Gabriel make it inside Meridian, and the two split off. Now, as I said before, like, the tension between Pope and Leia are going to, like, just continue to build up throughout this entire episode. And, like, this scene really emphasizes that as well, just because, like, now Pope thinks that Leia blames him for everyone they lost. But, also in the previous scene, I forgot to mention that when Pope was kind of yelling at Leia to not, like, act up, and, like, even though Wells was a brother to her, he was still a son to the Pope. So, like, that tension just keeps building up. I'm pretty sure, like, Pope feels bad, but then he feels like his cause is more important than his family right now, and that's really bothering Leia. And when Daryl finds the Reaper that's on watch, I really love how they just continue to do these kind of setups, because as we saw in the previous episode, this same Reaper was the one who had the key to the food storage room, and this is the one that kind of Daryl was trying to make friends with by giving him a cigarette. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought Daryl was just like giving the cigarette to this Reaper as a way to kill him, like he poisoned this Reaper, but obviously I thought too far from it just because Daryl straight up just like stabs him with his knives. And like, I don't know why. The first thing I thought was Daryl was gonna poison this guy, but nope, he's just going to like stab him. And I just really liked that setup, just because it's like Daryl goes straight to the food storage, and it just so happens that the Reaper that he's making friends with and like he killed right then and there was the one who had the key to the food storage room. But I don't know whether every single Reaper actually does have a key to this room, but it's just, I just really like that setup, okay? Back at Alexandria, Rosita goes out to clear the walkers in front of the house. She then comes back and tells everyone to stay away from the windows. Okay, so, in this scene, all I really have to say about it is all hail Queen Rosita, because she was so badass in this. And it's just like she single-handedly basically clears like a small horde in front of the house, and she's just like, she's she's so cool in here. I love Rosita. And like, I really, really like that they gave her this opportunity to shine, because before this, she was just like a stay-at-home mom. Like, for obvious reasons, she wasn't really going out to fight because she had to protect her daughter and just like stay with her daughter. But then here, it's just like, finally we get to see Rosita back in action. She's so badass, and she's herself again. Well, it's not like she was really not herself at any stage. It's just, I love how the scene proves that she's still a really, really badass fighter. Not that anyone should have doubted it in the first place. Gabriel makes it to his destination and looks for the sniper rifle Maggie had told him about. Daryl is with Leia as they reveal the Hwacha. Daryl talks to Leia and then reveals to her that Maggie is his family, and he begs her to help him stop Pope. Now, when Daryl tells Leia about Maggie, like, his facial expression and the way he's talking brings me all the way back to season 3 when he finds out that Merle's still alive and he's with the governor. Just the way that he was basically begging Leia to help him save his family, it really had the same feeling of when Daryl was begging Rick to let him talk to Merle. He can talk him out of it. And it was just like, I don't know whether that was just like a I don't think that was a purposeful throwback, but to me it really was. And it kind of, to me, really proves that Daryl hasn't exactly changed his ways when it comes to trying to protect his family. Like, he's willing to fight for them, but at the same time, if he can try to like beg for mercy in the instance where he knows Leia is still like a caring person when she wants to be, like, I just really like that they added that in. Or I don't even know if the writers made him do that, or it's just Norman Reedus is just, he's so in tune with how Daryl is, and I just really I loved seeing that, just because it really brought me back. And you guys know how much I love throwbacks, intentional or not. We then jump to Maggie taking one of the cars in Meridian and driving it to the gates and bashing it open, letting the walkers flood inside. Carver reports the issue back to Pope, and he orders the Reaper that built the Hwacha to aim into the courtyard and fire, not caring that his people are still in the line of fire. Leia then kills Pope, and Daryl kills the Reaper behind her. Leia then radios the others, telling them that Daryl had killed Pope, and that he is with the enemy, forcing Daryl to run before the other Reapers can arrive to the rooftop. Now, with the tension that all built up to this point between Leia and Pope, like I said, there was no point of return, especially after she killed him. But I'm going to be honest, I did not expect Leia to kill him, and I honestly think his death was kind of like rather lacking, because he literally just got stabbed in the neck, and then when he was kind of choking on his own blood, Leia just stabs him in the back of the head, preventing him from turning. And it's just, I thought that he would go out in a much cooler way, but one thing that kind of bothers me is that we still don't know exactly what being marked by Pope means. And now that Pope's dead, I don't think we ever will find out, and I'm kind of bummed about that, because like, we've been thinking, well, I've been thinking on it ever since that one episode where Maggie finds this Reaper, was the very first Reaper that we saw in the show, and he's like, Pope marked you. What does that mean? Now we will probably never know, because I'm thinking Pope was the only one who knew, unless in part B of season 11, maybe Leia's going to explain it, but at this point I really highly doubt that. And then when Daryl tries to get Leia to come with him after like both the Pope and the Reaper who built the weapon had died, there's like a split second where I think Leia would have gone with Daryl if she didn't see that her other brother had died because of Daryl, and like that just sparked something in her. And I think it's like, I killed someone who was my father figure. You killed my brother. Your family killed so many others of my family, and now you're telling me to go join them. And, well, not really join them, but just leave with him. And it's just, I think that was like her breaking point, where she just realizes that because Daryl is with them now, that he's linked to Maggie. This is exactly why all of her like people that she lost have died. And I honestly think that if Daryl didn't kill the other Reaper, Leia might have actually went with him, but then there was actually no way of leaving the rooftop with Daryl if that Reaper didn't die. So like there really was no way out of it. It's just that's honestly what I think. Leia might not have outed Daryl and like betrayed him if he didn't kill her brother right in front of her. And it's just in the scene when Leia does reveal to the Reapers that Daryl is with the enemy, just the heartbreaking look on Daryl's face was just, it was just that. It was so heartbreaking to see, because it's like, well, I don't think he fully trusted her, but then it's like he wanted her to come with him. He wanted her to trust him. He wanted to trust her as well, and it's like when he heard that she told all the Reapers that he's the one who killed Pope, that he's with Maggie now, it's like, it was just so heartbreaking, because it's like that was like the betrayal that basically is going to be in between them forever, and that's never going to go away. But at the same time, I think Daryl in the back of his head, like, he didn't want it to happen, but he might have expected it as well, just because he knew that he would never be able to get away with lying to her forever. And it would like just come to a light eventually that he was betraying her, and so she betrays him for like a revenge thing. But I don't know. I just really didn't like seeing Daryl that sad. It was just really sad, and it was sad. Don't be sad. Back at Alexandria, Rosita tells everyone to go upstairs while they try to hold the doors closed. Judith goes off to find Gracie, who's in the basement, and sees that it's flooding, but unfortunately, they get blocked in by walkers. So in this last scene of Alexandria in this episode, I think it's rather worrying, because literally both Gracie and Judith are separated from the group. I don't think anyone knows that they're in the basement, and they're trapped in a flooding basement and walkers pounding at the door. Although I think the walkers pounding at the door is not exactly the biggest concern, mainly because if Gracie and Judith just both stay quiet, the walkers are going to leave them alone eventually, especially because they can't actually see them, unless the noise from the flooding basement is enough to actually attract them. But I don't know how thick those walls are, and I don't think they're soundproof, so that might actually be one of the more worrying factors. But anyway, it's rather worrying because, well, like I said, no one knows they're there, and like, one, they could drown, and two, they can be eaten by walkers. So I'm just going to throw my predictions out there. I really want Lydia to find them and save them, just because I need more. I don't think we actually had a Lydia and Judith moment, and I just really want to see that, just because, like, I love Lydia and I love Judith. Put them in a scene together. That would be perfect. Make Lydia save Judith. That would be perfect. Just have Lydia in the scene, because she was barely really in the scene, and I think the last person that was actually holding the doors in the main living room was Lydia, and she was there. She has a stick. She can probably teach Gracie how to fight with the broomstick that Judith broke for her. So, like, I just really, really want it to be Lydia to save them. It would just be more, like, more favorable for me, just because I really like Lydia. I need more Lydia moments. But then at the same time, I think it would be much more predictable if it's Aaron coming back in the nick of time just to, like, save his daughter. I can kind of just hear it where Aaron's just like, Gracie, and then like the door just like you hear a lot of pounding, and then Aaron just opens the door and he's just like, Gracie, are you okay? But then like Judith's just gonna be like, okay, I'm here too. So I think like the bigger possibility would be Aaron or Rosita coming back to save these girls, but I personally want it to be Lydia. I rambled on, I'm really sorry. In the final scene of this episode, Maggie and Negan are fighting off the walkers while Daryl is trying to get to them, and Leia calls off the Reapers. She then lights the hwacha and lets it fire into the horde. Now, when Negan voiced out that the Reapers are they're retreating, I loved that Maggie, she wasn't relieved. Rather, she was like, what? What did you just say? They're retreating? Why? And it's like, it just lets you know how much Maggie knows her own enemy, like how much she knows the Reapers, because she knows that they don't back off. Like, they're not going to stop until they basically killed every single one of them. At least that's what Maggie does think, since they are brutal. They do not back up on a fight. And just how she reacted when she was like, wait, they're backing off? Why? What's happening? And it's like her instinct just kicked in, and she's like, something is really, really wrong for them to be like just backing off and retreating. And like the first thing that goes off in her head was, what are they doing? And I just really, really liked that, because again, it shows how smart she is. It shows how like instinctual she is, and I love Maggie. I love Maggie a lot. Now, I thought that this episode would have actually been the end of the Reapers, just because I thought part A would be like them fighting the Reapers, which obviously it was, and then part B would be something else, and then part C might focus on the Commonwealth. But clearly I was wrong, since the Reapers are not dead, only Pope is dead, and now, like, they have Leia as their new commander instead of Pope. And honestly, I am not disappointed by that, just because it's like, Pope was just the enemy of part A, and now part B is just going to be them facing Leia. But I really hope that they don't drag it for the entirety of part B, just because, like, to be completely honest, the Reapers have kind of lost, like, their menacingness, if that's a word, to me anyway, just because when they were first introduced, they were terrifying. They looked like literal Grim Reapers. They had masks on. They knew how to really, really fight. But then after you start to get to know them, they kind of... I lost interest in them just because they're not as scary as they were supposed to be, or not as scary as I anticipated them to be. And for a, I guess, mid-season finale, part A finale of the final season, I really liked the way they ended it, because they ended it off in a very Walking Dead way, with a major cliffhanger, and I cannot say that I did not expect that, because Walking Dead loves their cliffhangers. Clearly we saw that from episode 1 of this season, with Maggie falling off the train car, and just, I really like how they ended it. And now it just feels like it's going to be a battle between Maggie, our Queen Maggie, versus Queen Reaper Leia. And it's just, I'm kind of really excited about it, because if you know me at all, I really, really, really like strong female characters, which is why I love Carol, I love Maggie, I love Connie, I love basically all the mains in, all female mains in Walking Dead. I'm glad that this episode kind of closed a door for a certain arc, and that's the Daryl double-crossing the Reapers arc, just because, like, if you can even call that an arc on its own. But it's just, I didn't want it to drag on anymore, and now the cat's out of the bag. Daryl is back with his family, but it's just, like I said, that scene between Daryl and Leia, and how heartbroken he looked when she betrayed him, even though he betrayed her first. Like, it was just a really, really sad moment, and I hope Daryl's gonna be okay after that. He probably won't be, though. So for this episode, I would rate it an 8 out of 10, mainly because I really enjoy cliffhangers, even though, like, they make me really impatient. But I was really, like, excited for what's going to come, what's going to happen, and now that we know that it's, like, Leia versus Maggie, it's like, I'm excited, because, like I said, it's two very strong female characters going against each other. Obviously, Maggie's gonna win in the end, but this episode just really closed off some major storylines and just carried on throughout the story, and I just really, really like that. I probably would have rated it higher if we found out what being marked by the Pope means, but Pope's dead now, so we'll probably never know. Alright, so that was my review of episode 8 of the final season of The Walking Dead, For Blood. If you guys agree with what I said or disagreed, please let me know down in the comments down below. If you guys enjoy my video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe if you want to see more future content of mine. I would really appreciate that. Now, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!